evening, everyone, and welcome to the Committee for Economic Development's Distinguished Performance Awards Dinner. Very happy that all of you have taken time tonight to join us to recognize 6 wonderful business statesmen and women. We are here tonight to recognize Mark Bertolini, the Chairman and CEO of Aetna, who will be introduced by Roger Crandall. Arnie Sorensen, the President and CEO of Marriott, introduced by Deborah Lee. Here we go. Sandy Peterson, Chairman of Johnson & Johnson, introduced by Bob Kerrigan. Mike Petters, the President and CEO of Huntington. That was weak. They must be a defense contractor. Should I cheer? Should I not cheer? All right. Here we go. I've got it going now. And Mike will be introduced by Victoria Harker. Deanna Mulligan, the President and CEO of Guardian, introduced by Martha McGarry. And finally, our own Ron O'Hanley, the President and CEO of State Street. Now that's a group that loves their CEO. We're going to begin this evening by presenting 3 of the 6 awards, and then we will break for dinner and then honor the final 3. I'd like to take this moment to thank our awards dinner introducers, the dinner committee, and our sponsors. And all of their names are featured in our program, which should be at your places. And this evening would not be possible without the support of our sponsors. So join me in thanking all of our sponsors tonight. As you will see, there are favor bags at each of your places with some goodies in them. You'll see a note from Aetna, and it's free health insurance. No, that's not it. It's they've made a donation. Aetna has made a donation tonight to Share Our Strength, No Kid Hungry, that will provide up to 200 meals to children in need, and that's approximately 100,000 meals tonight. Johnson & Johnson has provided a gift bag with travel products. Huntington Ingalls has donated an aircraft carrier to each of us. They actually have a mini power bank, and if anyone can do it, Huntington Ingalls can do it, a mini power bank to charge all of your electronic devices. It is not a nuclear device, so you can use it safely on your iPhones. MassMutual has provided pens. You'll see a note from Guardian, who has made a $20,000 charitable contribution to Year Up, an organization that helps impoverished adults. So you'll find a notebook from State Street featuring their iconic Fearless Girl statue. And finally, this is an interesting one. Marriott has seeded certain bags around the room with some lucky winners and free certificates for stays. So don't throw those gift bags out without checking your Marriott certificates. All right. Now we got them going, Arnie. They're checking their bags. So, the Committee for Economic Development has been around for 75 years. This week, this month, is our 75th anniversary, and we're the group that wrote the Marshall Plan and the Bretton Woods Agreement, and I'm pleased to say that we have been contributing to nonpartisan reasoned solutions from business in the nation's interest now for 75 years. I'd like to acknowledge all the CED members who are with us tonight. Can all of the CED members please stand up for a moment and be recognized? Thank you to all of our members. We appreciate you being here. We also have a very robust presence from McKinsey & Company, not only current McKinsey folks, but also I think most of our honorees and many of you in the room are McKinsey alums. So welcome and thank you. They have been longtime thought partners. Let's now turn to our awardees. Our first awardee tonight is Mark Bertolini, who will receive the Business Statesmanship Award in honor of Pete Peterson, who is our longest-serving member. And I'd like to thank the Peter G. Peterson Foundation for all of your ongoing support. Welcome tonight. You know, a few years back, Pete wrote an editorial or a column for the Washington Post calling for more business statesmanship in America, and that's what CED is about. Here to introduce Mark Bertolini is Roger Crandall. Roger is the chairman, president, and CEO of the Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance Company, where Mark is a board member. Roger has spent his entire career at MassMutual, starting in real estate and working his way to the top of the company. In addition to his role at MassMutual, Roger enjoys taking an active leadership role in many civic and economic organizations, serving on the Smithsonian National Board, the Financial Services Roundtable, and the Massachusetts Competitive Partnership. Roger, welcome, and thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Steve. Good evening, everybody. So if you get one of those Marriott awards, there's an amazing resort, the JW Marriott that we own down at Marco Island. It came through the hurricane pretty well. It's going to open up again next week, so go down and enjoy some time there, please. So I've got to always be selling, right? That's the business. I'm pleased and excited to be here tonight to present this award to Mark Bertolini. The Peter Peterson Strategic Business Statesmanship Award recognizes executives who champion issues in the interests of the public good and who hold themselves to the highest standards of ethics and integrity. And simply put, I can't think of anybody better than Mark for this award. Mark is a true role model when it comes to caring about people and their well-being, and has worked through most of his life, both personally and professionally, in this area. You know, we all know Mark is the CEO of Aetna, a Fortune 50 company with 23 million customers, $60 billion in revenues. But first and foremost, Mark is a father. And a father's love takes priority over the stock price or the income statement. There was never a time when that case was more the case than when Mark's son Eric was struck with a rare form of cancer when he was only 16 years old. Doctors said he might not make it, and it was a diagnosis that Mark refused to accept. He found an oncologist in Boston who was willing to try a rare experimental treatment involving a bone marrow transplant. Mark quit his job at Cigna at the time and moved into his son's hospital room to personally manage his care. At one point, he even donated a kidney to his son following complications from the treatment. The great news is that Eric beat the odds, made a full recovery, thanks to Mark's love, passion, and concern for his well-being. And as anyone who knows Mark from Aetna, it goes way beyond what he does for his family. A few years ago, Mark was interacting with employees on social media and visiting them, and what he heard was that people were struggling to make ends meet, and particularly to cover their health care expenses. So Mark took these comments to heart, and he stepped up and he raised the minimum wage at Aetna to $16 an hour and reduced the out-of-pocket medical costs for lower-paid employees. What makes Mark even more of a pioneer is what he's been doing with wellness at Aetna, something that again can be traced back to a personal story. Back in 2004, Mark, who's an avid skier, was skiing in Vermont and he crashed into a tree. He broke his neck, his back, and had significant injuries to his head and damaging his nerves. As he was working through a long and difficult recovery, Mark turned to non-conventional methods like yoga and meditation. When he saw how much these treatments helped him, he was determined to have it help others and pledged to make these treatments more broadly available. Now more than 13,000 Aetna employees have had a 12-week stint of mindfulness training or yoga, and it's resulted in a dramatic increase in productivity. He's actually also one of the few CEOs who pays his employees to sleep, which has also helped his employees be more alert, more present, and productive. So he sees a real connection between these forward-thinking approaches and benefiting communities at large. For example, he believes one of the best ways to change the healthcare cost curve is to improve the communities, where social determinants like education, housing, and even fresh food can impact wellness. He said your zip code matters more than your genetic code. So Aetna launched the Healthiest Cities and Countries Challenge, which awards $1.5 million to communities that show improvements in average health indicators and social determinants of health. Of course, Mark's accomplishments aren't just defined by what he's done at Aetna. He's played a leadership role in several charities, serving on the board of directors of the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp for Kids with Cancer and Other Illnesses, as well as the Fidelco Guide Dog Foundation. In fact, Mark just mentioned that he ran into a dog that he had raised as a puppy, hasn't seen for almost a year, and of course the dog ran right up remembering Mark, which I thought was really cool. As you also know, Mark is a member of the MassMutual Board of Directors. He's brought keen insights and astute questions to our discussions. His insights on as we think about our policyholders and customers and challenging us in ways to rapidly evolve are very appreciated. So I'd like to close with the notion that a Fortune 50 CEO has lots of constituents that they have to satisfy: shareholders, customers, employees, communities, regulators, the list goes on. In the midst of all that, it's truly remarkable that Mark's been able to help so many people in so many ways. So Mark, I continue to be inspired by what you've done both professionally and helping so many people. And I want to thank you for being a champion to all the people. So please come up and receive your award.
Hi. Thanks for coming. Thank you, Steve. Thanks to the CED. Thank you, Roger, for that incredible introduction. Thanks to the Peterson Institute. Thank you to my team, who actually has done all the incredible things to make my success and our success as an organization. For people who really know me really well, I'm a huge Linkin Park fan, and I'm a huge Tom Petty fan. And Tom Petty has a song called Joe. And it starts off with, "My name's Joe, I'm the CEO. I'm the man makes the big wheels roll." And it's about his fight with his record company and how horrible it was to see music turn into a corporate asset. And so while we've had some fun so far, I'm going to honor the Pete Peterson Award for Ethics and Integrity and create a call for action. I grew up in very modest beginnings in Detroit. On the east side of Detroit, I went to public schools. I grew up in a home of 6 kids, 2 parents, 1,000 square feet and 1 bathroom. And I went to public high school, public college, Wayne State University. I worked full time to put my way through it. Took me 8 years. That's how I knew I was serious about it. I had a B average, snuck my way into Cornell. Amy George is here, my class president. We reunited tonight. Amy. But I have lived the American dream. And a lot of people outside this room don't have the same chance I did. Because our society is very different, opportunities are very different. We have a malaise, your zip code does matter more than your genetic code. Life expectancies are 15 to 20 years different in adjacent zip codes in cities like Baltimore, in the Bronx, in Detroit, where I grew up. Our capitalist model no longer works. Machines are more important than people. Our tax code treats them better. Assets that are more than 366 days old are more important and cheaper than assets that are 364 days old. We treat our machines better than we treat our people. And part of the lesson I learned in our organization is that it's not about the profit. If you look at Aetna's rise from $29.85 in 2010 to $163 a share today, 65% of it is related to its price-earnings multiple. And that price-earnings multiple is the street's belief as to whether or not we provide an asset that's valuable that people will repeatedly buy, and that only comes through the people that provide our service. The people on the front lines of our organization. If we don't invest in them, we aren't investing in the business fundamentals. And so when we raised our minimum wage to $16 an hour and we wiped out healthcare costs for people below 300% of the federal poverty level, What we did is we increased the personal disposable income of a lot of our employees, almost 5,700, on average 25 to 30%. Do you think it mattered? It mattered a lot. Our engagement scores are up 1,200%, and our people now believe in our organization and believe in our leadership. We can't wait for Washington to fix our economic malaise. I was one of the co-founders of Fix the Debt. Didn't work. We shook our finger at government and said, get it right, and we will invest. We have to invest as leaders. And if we don't reinvent the capitalist model, we will lose it because it will be changed for us. And so we need to find our way to help the people on the front lines of our organizations, bring them to the fundamentals of our business, and we will get rewarded over the long run, because the bottom line is an output. It's not something that you manage. So I call on all of us as leaders who are very well heeled in this room, that the people out there that live in the real world need our help, and it's our responsibility to do it. So in honor of Pete Peterson, who I consider to be a great man, that's my honest and ethical conversation for today. So thank you very much for the award. Thank you very much for coming.